Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I hope you had a great week. Guess who we have here?
Hello.
This is Lindsay. Lindsay is Ben's sister, my little girl. And I was saying how addiction and mental illness affects the family. There are people that have asked how Lindsay has dealt with it, so we thought we would bring her on and get her perspective on things. So I just have a few questions I'm going to ask Linz, and we're just going to go with the flow, baby.
Let's do it.
So, Linz, when did you notice a difference like that? Things became, I don't want to use the word normal, not very smooth.
I noticed it once I started going to college, and Ben was in grade 9, because the home was changing and the environment in my home was changing, and that's where I live and that's where I should be comfortable, but I wasn't anymore. And so that's when I noticed it changing.
Yes, and as I've mentioned to our viewers, and when Ben was in grade 9, that's when he started to smoke weed, and I've since discovered the weed was laced, so it changed his personality, and it changed the people around him. I know
What was it laced with?
He said it was laced with anything that would make him higher. I don't remember. So he would smoke weed, and he wouldn't
Still learning things.
he wouldn't be mellow chill anymore. He would be pretty aggressive
Yes.
and disrespectful.
Yes.
And so I guess my yelling, because I used to yell back then too.
Yes. It was the anger and the fighting and the negativity that was just always around in the house, when he was there at least. And I wasn't comfortable there, so I didn't want to go home, and I didn't want to deal with that.
So I know that then I'm just learning this because we were chatting beforehand that Lindsay then started to live at her aunt's house a little more often, which was closer to school. Now, my perspective was, oh, that's a good idea, it's closer to school. But what I understand is that might not be the complete reason.
Yeah, it was like part of the reason, because commuting to school was already really long, but the majority of the reasoning was because I didn't want to be at home, and I was just reading notes, but my grades were dropping when I first started college, and when things were getting bad, and I thought maybe if I stayed away from home, I'd be able to deal with things and just avoid it, but
so it affects the whole family, and with Lindsay, she moved out sooner, and sorry, you might be able to hear some of the outside noise. We decided to enjoy the weather and do this outside, so I hope you could still hear us. So I know, Linz, at time, like, it's different for you now. What changed for you? How did you get to where you are today?
That's making it sound like I'm like over it and stuff.
Oh,
I'm still
sorry.
dealing with it. I'm still like going to therapy for all the things, but that for sure. But I noticed a significant positive change around the topic of Ben when I went to a retreat a couple years ago. It was a self-love retreat, and we talked about everything from like past traumas to what our dreams are in the future. And so I wrote or journaled about Ben and my experience with the addiction, because that was a very traumatic time in my life, and being able to tell the whole story all at once, and to people who don't know the situation at all, who don't even know my brother, who didn't know me 3 days before, to tell them the whole thing from start to finish helped me process it in a way that I couldn't before, because I was always like catching up my boyfriend at the time. This happened and this happened, but it was always in the moment. And so when I was in the moment, I could only see like a little bit of the past and a little bit of maybe where the future will take us. But when I stepped back and gave like the whole story. I was able to see how far we'd come, and to that point, Ben had started recovery, maybe, or like
He wasn't.
he was on the right track.
He was on the right
slowly,
track. Yeah.
like barely. He was on the right track, but I was able to see like how far we'd come instead of just like, it's bad, it's still bad, it's still bad. It might be still more bad, but like really, it was bad, 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 and now it's like, okay,
Manageable.
it's still
Ish.
not great, but it's not bad.
But also, you never heard the whole story.
Oh man, I'm
That's
still learning things.
one thing, because I didn't share everything with Lindsay because it was too much. It wasn't necessary. It wasn't necessary for her to know a lot of the things, like all the hospitalizations and stuff. So
It got to like when I did find those things out, it got to a point where I think I would be scared to ask about him because I didn't want to hear the bad news. I didn't want there to be something else to jam into my brain and freak out about.
Right.
So, yeah, I got scared to ask about him.
Oh, and I know you didn't ask about them, and
Yeah.
I would share things after the fact.
Yes.
I would not be calling Lindsay to tell her I'm on my way to the hospital again, and your brother OD'd again, and so I did protect you from a lot of that. And skipping ahead, Lindsay did move out in her third year of school, so she was even more distant from it. So going on her retreat helped really put in perspective. And as I've said in the past, I take a lot of courses, and I was telling Lindsay about the mental health first aid course, and I like to think that I inspired her to take that course.
Definitely.
And so, Lindsay, you want to talk about the mental health first aid course, which I highly recommend to anybody living on this planet.
Yes, everybody should take it because everyone has mental health and knows someone who's dealing with mental health issues. The course the course helped me with the situation with my brother in a way that before I was very uncomfortable talking to him, and I would like have no idea what to say or what to do around him and what to think really, but the course taught me what addiction really is, and it helped me understand more of that, but it also helped me to understand how to talk to someone with addiction and other mental health issues, but specifically here addiction, and that helped me communicate with my brother and know what to say when I was talking to him, because I didn't want to, but now I had the tools.
That's good.
To do it.
and I gotta say, I remember you telling me about an incident that you had gone to a movie with your brother, and he had dropped something, and he made some comment to himself, how he was something negative. I don't remember.
He was something like, I'm the black sheep of the family and blah 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 blah, and he was just putting himself down very hard.
Right, and I know that you might have dealt with it differently before the mental health first aid.
I wouldn't have known what to say. I would have just been like, I think you're wrong, but okay.
But because you went to the mental health first aid and you educated yourself, I know you handled it very well, because Ben even told me about it. So, I know you said, I don't know what you said, but something to
I'm not sure what I said, but it was very like I made eye contact with him and was like, what you're saying is not true, and like, we still love you even though you're going through a lot of things. That doesn't change how we feel about you.
But the course, would you say, gave you the courage to say that?
Yeah, definitely.
And I just want to say to people watching that is really important, because I always talk about educating yourself, because you can't change the other person, but you can learn how to deal with different situations. And the more you know, the better you do, because you learn about the disease and how it affects them.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest things for me, learning that you can't change the person or you can't control them. Hearing it from someone who's teaching me that is I was able to listen to that and decide, like, okay, I don't need to put that pressure on myself to change him or to do anything like that. So.
That's right. So you've come a long way. There's so much more to say, and we might do another video, so stay tuned. Do you have any advice to anybody watching that may be a loved one that has a sibling with an addiction or a mental health issue?
Look for the mental health first aid course. That changed a lot for me, for sure. But also just remembering that you're doing your best, and it's not your responsibility to fix the person, but it's just be there for support and don't judge. Hold space for them if they want to talk to you. And those are the big things.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Thank you, Linz. So stay tuned. Maybe there'll be another one. I don't know, Lindsay, did we ever do this? Ben and I?
Never.
No, this is Ben and I's thing, so I'm just going to do the air thing.
Yeah, I'm not into it.
But thanks for watching. Thank you, Lindsay, for being here and being a beautiful daughter and a beautiful sister. And you guys have a great week. Stay tuned for next week. Sending you all lots of love. Be safe, be smart, and keep that spirit to live. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.